storms in the forecast. We're on your side with tips on how to prevent hydroplaning.
And the heartwarming homecoming given to an astronaut.
Plus, we hear what space sounds like.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
Welcome into First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan and my dear friend,
Tania Michelle. Woo.
It is Friday. We are feeling good on Friday.
Yes.
You know, Tania, I'm a little concerned though about what space sounds like. I
Me
don't know.
too.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just go and find out for ourselves.
Yeah, we should. So anyone who wants to send us up to space, fund that, please reach us, DM us on Instagram or something. We'll look into that.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun little trip.
You know,
Girls trip.
yeah, I think the weather up in space may be a little bit more interesting because it's been real dry around here recently, Tania. But what do we finally have back in the forecast?
Rain.
We do.
Actually, this evening.
Yeah.
A few showers. Puny.
Yeah, they're puny though. But it looks like we could have a better chance for rain.
Let's
next
talk about
week.
it.
Let's
Okay.
talk about it. And look at First Alert AccuTrack right now. You can see why we're getting a chance of rain this evening. I mean, it's not much again, but we have a weak cold front that's moving into Alabama. The thing with this front doesn't have a lot of moisture associated with it. So that's why Tania said, the showers we're getting, they're not very impressive. They're going to be pretty puny for tonight. But it is also bringing some cloud cover tonight for any football games you're going to see tonight for sideline. But we'll be dry once we get past tonight. Saturday and Sunday looking dry, pretty pleasant weekend weather. But then our next big thing is tracking that potential for a rainmaker, possibly a storm system to come in Monday night and linger through Tuesday. That could bring a better chance of rain in the forecast. Hopefully could bring some drought busting rain in the forecast. I'm not saying this one system is going to make the drought completely go away, but maybe it could help a little bit because we have been seeing extreme drought expanding across central Alabama. Now, if you've been following along with us the past couple of days, initially yesterday we thought, hey, late on Monday, there could be the potential for a few strong to severe storms, especially in west central, southwest Alabama. But now the latest outlook from the Storm Prediction Center shows that maybe that best energy would actually be areas farther to the west in Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and eastern Texas. So for now, first of all, I don't think we're going to see much in the way of rain on Monday. If we don't have any rain around, then there goes that potential for storms. But in this area highlighted in yellow, the potential for some strong wind gusts and isolated tornadoes on Monday night specifically. And so that would be to the west of us. I think once that system gets here, it would be weaker, but it could potentially slow down. And that's where we could see the benefit of more rainfall if it's a slow moving system. So here we are Monday morning showing us dry here across central Alabama, really for most of the day. It's not really until we get into Monday evening that we could begin to see a chance of isolated showers and storms to the northwest. And then here comes that system Monday overnight into Tuesday morning. And notice as we go throughout the day Tuesday, it just doesn't move much. You just have a rainmaker that's sitting over our area, possibly sticking around till Tuesday afternoon, if not Tuesday night, and then finally should be fading away on Wednesday. But how much rain could we see? Well, some of the latest data suggests maybe we could get at least an inch of rain, maybe an inch and a half of rain. Be great if we could see 2 inches of rain. Definitely not a guarantee though, but we're going to be watching this closely in the days ahead because goodness knows we certainly need some beneficial rainfall in the forecast with this drought in place. But as we prepare to see possible severe weather across the deep south on Monday, possibly into Tuesday morning, meteorologist Matt Daniel and Mickey Ferguson join us now with some tips on how to prevent hydroplaning on wet roads.
So rain can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. Good thing, obviously, if there's a drought, you need some rain, but it can be bad, especially for the morning, evening commutes.
And especially when it hasn't rained in a long time. You've got a lot of oil on the roadways. It can be slick out there, but rain in and of itself can be present its own problems with hydroplaning.
Let's talk about it. Hydroplaning and wet roads. Obviously, when the roads are dry, the tires make contact with the road at all times. You don't have issues. But
Got
when
some good friction going on.
There you go. And with wet roads, say that 5 times fast, the loss of contact on the wet road at certain speeds, and that creates the hydroplane concerns.
So how do wet roadways, that's even harder, affect your commute? Well, like we said, we have contact with the treads on the tires. They're meant to cause that friction, and hold on to the traction. But the wet roadways, the faster you go when it is raining, you can have some issues, as you're well aware.
Yeah, and the roads can be really slick too. As you were just saying, if it hasn't rained for a while, the oil kind of gets to the surface, and also when it starts, the leaves are falling around, that can cause some slippery issues as well. But it's all about the speed. Obviously, when it's raining, we always tell people to slow down.
Yeah, you have better contact with the tire on the roadways, but at faster speeds, not only do you're hitting puddles and things like that, but the water itself can wrap around the tire, and at faster speeds, it's just going to increase that, and you get more water return, and that's what causes the hydroplaning.
Yeah, so we always encourage people to obviously slow down. You want to allow some distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, and just take it easy. And as always, when it's raining, they always tell you have your lights on and to be safe. But that's a little bit about hydroplaning when it rains.
Just slow it down if you can.
And around the world, a powerful earthquake rocked the southern Philippines earlier today. Check out the terrifying moment captured on video. The magnitude 6.7 quake was located about 16 miles from Burias, which is at the southern tip of the Philippines. The quake did not trigger a tsunami warning, but the Philippines regularly experience these earthquakes and volcanic eruptions due to its location in the quote-unquote Ring of Fire, which are seismic faults around the Pacific Ocean. And in Australia, demonstrators gathered in Perth and other Australian cities today as a part of the nationwide effort. It's being called Schools Strike for Climate. And they're calling on Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to replace fossil fuels as the country's main source for energy.
And in Tuscaloosa County, an out-of-this-world homecoming for an astronaut. Colonel Bob Hines is a graduate of the University of Alabama. He returned to the capstone Thursday to speak to students. Colonel Hines has spent nearly 200 days in space and had this perspective on the experience of seeing Earth from space.
Looking down on our planet, seeing no borders and seeing how connected the whole planet is, not just for humanity, but also from an environmental standpoint.
Wise words there. Hines says his next trip to space will likely be in about 2 years. Hey, Tania, maybe we can hitch a ride with him. And here's something cool happening above the atmosphere this weekend. The Leonid meteor shower is expected to peak shortly after midnight tonight. It's going to be cloudy tonight. Keep that in mind. It's expected to reveal about 10 to 15 bright meteors an hour and a beautiful display, but they'll be moving pretty quickly. It said they'll be going 44 miles per second. Good grief. I feel real slow right now, which obviously that is very fast. And like I said, although we will have clouds in our area, the meteors will stick around for a few days after the peak, so you'll still have an opportunity to look up. Just make sure you get away from city lights. And in 30 seconds, we're taking you back around the world with this week's segment, and that's Around the World.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Tania Michelle, and in this week's segment of Mets Around the World, we talk about the many different types of meteorologists. And meteorologist Zach Webster suggests exploring various paths to help decide your direction in the field.
If you like the weather, but you don't really like being in front of a camera, you can always do the professional route and do something like the National Weather Service or something in the private sector. I never got to experience it, but I know stuff like forensics meteorology is a thing, how the weather affects crime scenes. There's aviation meteorology. I think the biggest thing right at the beginning, if you're sure you want to go into meteorology, but you don't really know what specifically you want to go into with that field, I think you have the time early on to really kind of explore that and see what you really are interested in. That's a good way to head in a good direction for you want to go in this business.
And forensic scientists, meteorologists investigate the role that weather plays in unusual events such as traffic accidents and fires. And in Arizona, an electric fire truck is rolling out in Gilbert. Stephanie Bennett has more on this truck that the fire department hopes will be healthier for its team overall.
Saving lives while also saving the environment. Gilbert, they're going electric.
Had we not branded this truck differently, you would walk up and go, it looks just like the others.
Over at Fire Station number 2, the Gilbert Fire and Rescue Department has a brand new Pierce Volterra electric fire truck.
Essentially, this compartment right here is what's different about this truck. Everything from the cab forward and the pump house back is just like our other trucks. So in here houses 3 very large battery packs.
Reducing emissions, minimizing fuel, and producing less noise with no compromise on performance and functionality.
We're going to evaluate the cost as far as what it would cost to run diesel, our legacy diesel motors for a year versus the cost of savings for the electric bills.
And it also is keeping its crew safe.
Of all the safety features we admire most about this truck is, again, when it's in operation mode, there's no cancer coming out the tailpipe. And I say it that way because diesel particulates are a contributor for cancers.
So far, there's only 3 being trialed in the country. Gilbert will track its truck for its cost effectiveness compared to their diesel trucks, as well as performance. Now, they'll also compare how the batteries run in our hot summer climate compared to an electric truck in colder climates.
So this truck comes with a lot of efficiencies based on the electrification and how it performs, but we're also testing to see the effectiveness of the thermal management system to try to keep those batteries in their optimal condition and temperatures in our high heat environment, the high UV environment.
Now, these can last several hours on a single charge, and it only takes 90 minutes to fill it up. In Gilbert, Stephanie Bennett, Fox 10 News.
And when we return, Lauren talks about the chance for severe weather early next week, and I take you beyond the 7-day.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra on this Friday evening. So what are we tracking here over the next week as we head into Thanksgiving? Well, here's the good news. Even though we got some spotty showers tonight, looking dry this weekend. Granted, it's all relatives. Like, yeah, it's good news if you got weekend plans, but with drought in place, we could really use some rain. But I think we'll finally get some. A first alert for some wet weather on Tuesday. Still a question of whether we could end up seeing some thunderstorms, but we're hoping we're going to get some beneficial rainfall out of this. And then that's all part of our next big thing, this storm system, which has a cold front attached to it. So we should be cooler by Thanksgiving. Of course, check back in with Fred and Tania this weekend for updates as we fine tune that forecast. Right now, though, as we look at First Alert AccuTrack for your Friday evening, not much going on out there. We do have some clouds around, a mostly cloudy sky, and temperatures are pretty mild. Most of us are in the 60s, even a balmy 70 in Birmingham. But we've got a front coming through, and this weak front is going to cool us down a touch for the weekend. But I mean, look at these college football forecasts for tomorrow. Got a lot of home games, by the way. If you're going over to Tuscaloosa tomorrow, game kicking off around 11 a.m., going to be comfortably in the 60s by then. Jacksonville State kicking off at 1 p.m. with temperatures in the upper 60s under a mostly sunny sky. Plenty of sunshine at Protective Stadium for the UAB game tomorrow at 2 p.m. And then if you're headed down to the Plains, going to Auburn as they take on New Mexico State, still a mostly sunny sky. I think for tomorrow, some clouds possible in the morning, but then fading away into the afternoon. But what about that travel forecast for next week? Well, we should be dry here in central Alabama, but if you're getting a jump start on those travels, maybe early next week, once we get past Sunday, Monday is when we see that storm system beginning to develop off to the northwest. And so that could eventually bring us some wet weather by Tuesday, and that wet weather could linger throughout the day before we finally begin to dry out. And then that rain shifts to the southeast. Could have some lingering clouds on Wednesday before we dry out and see more sunshine in the forecast. We've been seeing hints. Some of our models are trying to spit out a developing area of low pressure in the Gulf on Thanksgiving into Friday. Right now, we're keeping the forecast dry, but we're going to keep an eye on that. So for Thanksgiving Day, just looking chilly, dry, and sunny, possibly 30s in the morning, and then highs in the 50s during the afternoon. So if you need to get any decorating done before family comes into town, Tuesday is going to be the one day you don't want to do it. Before that, after that, looking good, and definitely going to be cooler though for the latter half of next week. So as we look at that 7-day forecast here, we do have a few clouds around for this weekend, but generally as we go into next week, we are going to be seeing some improvements once we get past Monday and Tuesday. Hey though, I think we're all looking forward to some rain in the forecast, but what about, believe it or not, as we get closer to December, we now bring in meteorologist Tania Michelle. Tania, what are we looking at beyond the 7-day?
Cooler temperatures, Lauren.
Ooh.
I don't know about snow, but cooler temperatures.
Okay, noted. Yeah, snow, probably not.
Let's go beyond. How about that? We're going beyond, way beyond. Not that far, guys. Okay, but let's talk about it. Here we are looking at the beyond the 7-day, between about 6 to 10 days out. Notice that some of us could see above average temperatures, not here at home, but along the West Coast. But here across majority of the United States, below average temperatures will likely be possible once again 6 to 10 days out from now. And here we are looking at central Alabama included in that. So we're definitely going to see some cooler weather in the days ahead. Take a look at those temperatures, potential highs. This is between November 23rd to December 2nd. Notice that temperatures by next Thursday, just around Thanksgiving Day, temperatures only in the low 50s, both Thursday and Friday of next week. So any of you that are going to be out and about, or at least here in central Alabama, plan for your Thanksgiving travels, pack that jacket and that sweater in your suitcase. Now here we look beyond Thanksgiving week. We go into next week, starting the end of November and into early December, with temperatures around trickling between the 60s to low 50s, possibly in the upper 50s by Wednesday. And here we are looking at potential lows. Now this is really where we're going to see those cooler temperatures. So when we look at next Friday, temperatures near freezing, if not right at it, around 32 degrees. That's looking at Friday morning. So after Thanksgiving Day, we can really see some cooler temperatures in the forecast. As far as rainfall, 6 to 10 days out, looks like we're still going to be pretty dry here at home. Some of us across the United States states can see above average rainfall. But for us here in central Alabama, we're looking mostly dry. Okay, so we will likely see some rain. We talked about that early next week, but 6 to 10 days out, we're probably going to be on the drier side. And looking at our radar over the next couple of days, I do see a little bit of moisture being possible. So here we are looking at moisture pushing through just around Thanksgiving Day, early next week. And then we're looking mostly dry in the days ahead after that. Here we are, the end of November. November 27th, a few showers may be possible, at least touching Alabama. But of course, it's still several days out. We'll continue to give you updates on what to expect as the days approach. But looking ahead, once again, cooler temperatures in the forecast, especially for Thanksgiving Day, and looking at below average rainfall. We'll have more updates beyond the 7-day next week on First Alert Weather Extra. But as we continue to get closer to the holidays, the weather will be absolutely perfect this weekend to get into the holiday spirit with two exciting events. Okay, let's start with this one. Starting today, Glow Wild will begin at the Birmingham Zoo. I think it already started. Okay, head out there. It puts on colorful displays using lanterns, and that is sure to get you all in the Christmas spirit. It will run until January 15th and will begin at 5 p.m. and end at 9 p.m. nightly. The proceeds from this fun event will go towards the zoo to continue supporting the animals. And also, starting today, the Magic of Lights at Alabama Adventure and Splash Adventure. It will run from now until December 31st. You have plenty of time. It will open at 5:30 p.m. nightly. Take a trip around the amusement park with beautiful light displays and much more. It will close at 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 10 p.m. on the weekends.
Well, if I'm going to go to Glow Wild at the zoo, I need to bring Tania with me, apparently. She looked like she was having a grand old time out there. Glow Wild.
Yeah, I know. I'm wild.
Oh, God. Okay. It is. Very clever. Well, we were talking about this at the start of the show. Have you ever wondered what space sounds like? Well, scientists and artists were able to work together to bring just that. Listen to this.
The sounds of space. A melody from the Milky Way that you can play at home. NASA's sonification project translated telescope data from the center of the Milky Way galaxy into notes and sounds which a composer turned into this classical composition, a plucky piece named Where the Parallel Lines Converge, performed in July at McGill University. But this cosmic concert is not just for professional performers. NASA also released sheet music so non-professional musicians can play it from the comfort of their living rooms. Described as dark and mysterious, the score comes with parts for the flute, piano, violin, and more, so everyone can play along with friends and family to the harmonies bouncing across the heavens. Coming soon to the nation's capital, this Christmas tree. The White House hand-picked a 19-year-old Fraser fir from Klein Church Nursery in North Carolina.
This is the Super Bowl of the Christmas tree industry.
The farm won the honor as part of a nationwide competition. Carefully cut down, the tree will be loaded up and shipped to Washington, where it will arrive for display in just a few days. Speaking of beating the competition, this woman and her wig just set a new Guinness World Record. Helen Williams from Nigeria spent $2,500 and 11 days weaving this wig, measuring 1,152 feet, 5 inches in length. That's longer than 7 Olympic-sized swimming pools. It took 1,000 bundles of hair, 35 tubes of glue, and more than 6,000 hair clips to hold it all together.
I don't have the words for that one. We'll be right back with a final look at your forecasts and your wigs. Oh boy. Yeah.
No, me too, though.
That was not what I was expecting. Well, Tania, we've got so much going on this weekend. I know we've got football games, and then you went to Glow Wild. Tell us more about that.
Oh, okay, Lauren. It was absolutely so much fun. For one, the animals are like 3D glow lanterns, so they come to life. They got some movement to them. You see the snowmen, the zebras, and you get to point out and see how well you know animals.
I love that. And I saw you on that train, too.
The train
I was
ride.
impressed.
Oh, yeah, we were living our best life.
It was
Shinty was with me.
Yeah.
It was giving what?
Polar Express, a little bit.
A little choo-choo. A little choo-choo.
Yeah, and Shinty Rodriguez, she's our new meteorologist on the team here. Spanish-speaking meteorologist. We're so excited to have her on the team. So you went there with her daughter as well.
And her daughter absolutely enjoyed it. I mean, it really does bring that Christmas spirit to life for even the young kids.
I love that. So children and adults alike, go out to the zoo. And of course, we'll have an update on your forecast tonight at 9. And Tania, this weekend, have a safe and happy Friday evening.